Hello, my friends, and happy Thursday. Another beautiful day in Wisconsin. And today I am hoping you find my project beautiful. In fact, I have to give you a little disclaimer. So we listed it last night, I believe, and we sold out of the gold. I should probably introduce the project first, ladies. So thank you for being patient. I'm a little excited to tell you. So unfortunately, we sold out of the gold, but let me show you both colors. So this is Turquoise Mountain, and I made it in two variations. I have a gold variation and a silver variation. And since we listed both in the Etsy shop, the gold actually sold out and we were supposed to get more gold chain because that was the holdup. And as it turned out, it is not coming. We're very, very sad. We're going to attempt to get more gold chain. But in the meantime, we are sold out of gold. And happily, this is the good news, we still have silver because our silver chain did come in. So that is the good news.
Jolene says hello.
Hi, Jolene.
Ellen says hi, Irina and everyone, and she says gorgeous.
Oh, thank you so much, Ellen.
And the rainbow. Maybe she's over the rainbow about it. I don't know.
Oh, thank you so much, my dear.
Fonda says good evening, everyone. Happy Thursday.
Hi, Fonda, and happy Thursday to you.
Trudy says hi, everyone.
Hello, Trudy. Okay, ladies. So, thank you for joining me on this fine evening. So again, this is what I'm going to be showing you today. So it's a kind of a classic combo of turquoise and pearls. I mean, how can you go wrong with turquoise and pearls? It's been a classic probably for centuries, but that is just a guess on my part. And I will point out that even though it is such a classic combination of gems, the turquoise and the pearls, but this is a little bit of a rewrite. So this is a very modern spin on this iconic combo. So what makes it modern? Well, first of all, the design, the two-strand design, the kind of like this very easy drape makes it very boho. But wait, there's more. There's also that little bit of a copper edge because this, of course, is the copper edge turquoise. So here, I know you can see, but I'm also going to turn this sideways so you can really see that slightly antique copper edge. And that is something that brings a little bit more to the entire look. It makes it that much more modern. It gives it a little bit of a mixed metals feel, and I just really love the look of it, not to even mention how incredibly popular these copper edge turquoise beads are. It's literally one of our most popular beads. We cannot keep them in stock. And this is natural turquoise. So there are going to be a lot of variations, ladies.
Sorry. Althea says hi, all.
Hey, Althea. So glad you joined us today. Okay, ladies. So you can see how very different these two sets are. And it's not that one belongs to the gold variation and the other belongs to the silver variation. It's that each one of these sets is going to be so very different. So I actually matched these up myself. I sat down and like spread out and matched up all these turquoise sets the way I like to see them. So I did this in a very careful and loving way, I assure you. But please know that when you order, there's going to be quite a bit of variation. So this is the one that I'm going to be demoing today. And I'm showing you that this is different yet. So literally each one of these sets is going to be a little bit different. And I really spent a lot of time on matching them, and I'm very happy with how they turned out, and I hope you are too. So this one is maybe just a little bit more variegated in terms of color. And unfortunately, you cannot pick your own, but I just want to reassure you that I made as many sets as sort of came together very naturally and easily, and I think they're all beautiful. But please know that there is going to be a lot of variation. So I hope you like surprises like I do, and who does not like surprises?
Kim K says, Happy Thursday, everyone.
Hi, Kim, and happy Thursday to you.
Kim C says, yay, there you are. Happy Thursday Eve.
Hi, Kim. Happy Thursday Eve. And what a beautiful day it was. And it's still beautiful. I can see the sky from this room, and it's so pretty. Okay, ladies. So we are going to get started. And to get started, of course, you are going to get a long piece of chain. This is the oval Rolo chain. So you're going to get a long segment of this oval Rolo, and it's going to be up to you to cut it into pieces. So I'm just getting situated here. And I want you to know that I have already pre-cut the chain, and the way that I cut my chain is so that, and as you just saw, we have 2 strands, which is such a popular look. It's been a super popular look for a while now, and I really feel like it's here to stay. And you know, when I wear my necklaces that look like this with a larger strand and maybe a smaller strand, I get a lot of compliments. So we have 2 strands, and let's see if we can do the drape. So can you guys see the drape? So this is, let me put my hand behind it, or maybe I'll just have to, maybe I'll model it a little bit later. Well, anyway, here, let's imitate how it would hang on our neck. It would do something like this, but better, obviously. So if you like this ratio of longer to shorter, I have exactly 1 inch difference between the 2 segments of chain. And so my longer chain segment is 9 inches, and my shorter chain segment is 8 inches. And so this is what it looks like. So I have the shorter segment, and if I match up the ends, you will see that the segment at the bottom has a very similar drape to my finished necklaces. So you may want to play with it a little bit and see if you like the same, because if you want to change it a little bit, that's fine. So again, mine are 9 inches for the longer one and 8 inches for the shorter one. And so you cut those off and just save the rest for the remainder of the necklace.
Karen says, good evening, everyone.
Hi, Karen. Good evening.
Katie S says, hello all. Pardon me if you already mentioned this, but I didn't see the gold kit on Etsy.
Hi, Katie. I am so sorry. It is sold out. So we're trying to get more gold chain. That was the issue. We sold out, or we used up all of the gold chain, and then we ordered more, but unfortunately it did not come in. So for right now, we only have the silver version of the necklace. However, we are trying and hoping to get some of the gold chain in, and hopefully we will be able to relist it once we do get it.
Allie says, hi, this looks like fun. Are these teardrop beads?
Hi, Ellie. Yes, indeed. These are teardrop beads. So you can see I just laid out this little fan. So you will get exactly 7 beads.
Pammy J says, good evening, everyone.
Hi, Pammy J. And so back to the beads. Yes, they are top drilled, and let me show you where the hole is. And sometimes one side is prettier than the other. I think I like this side better. So I was just talking about how they are top drilled. So this is how they hang. And you know, a lot of the time it's kind of perplexing. Like, how do you string it? Surely we could not string it just like this, and well, it would be a different project, right? But how do we hang it? How do we string it so that we can see that beautiful turquoise side as well as that little bit of copper edge? So that is exactly what I'm going to be showing you today.
Katie has a solution, well, for her. She says, I actually have the gold chain. Maybe I'll just order the silver and use my gold chain.
Oh, Katie, you're awesome. Yes, absolutely. And do you have the ball pins and all that other good stuff in gold? So, you know, obviously we want to make you happy. And so let us know if you need anything else in order to make it work, because, you know, we'll just include that in your package. Okay, guys, so we are going to get started. So as I was saying, the longer chain segment is 9 inches, the shorter one is 8 inches. So we're going to set the 8-inch segment aside just for now, because we're going to be working with the 9-inch segment. So as you can see, I have this little piece of wire right here. You don't have to do this, but this is just for the ease of finding the center. So I have obviously already found the center, and that is where we're going to get started. So I'm going to leave this little wire right where it is for now, and we are going to get started on making very organic and fun wrapped loops. So because this is an organic loop, it's also going to be a little bit of a larger loop. We're going to start out with about 1.5 inches of wire, and I am just putting this here so that you can see what the loops look like. So you can see they're quite large, because they need to be able to clear that point on the turquoise drops. Okay, so it's very important that they clear the point, and we are going to get started. Okay, so how do we do this so that it's not confusing? Let me just do something like this, and I think this will work. Okay, so I'm going to get started by bending the wire probably about 1.5 inches with my chain nose pliers. And I'm going to use, so let me first point out, so I'm going to use the medium bail making pliers. So I know a lot of you are familiar with the bail making pliers. So when it comes to the medium specifically, I feel like there is such a large difference between the smaller side and the larger side. And so I tried working with the smaller side, and my loop was not quite clearing the top of the teardrop. So then I switched to the larger side, and the larger side was just a little bit too big. And so what I ended up doing is what I'm going to show you right now. What I ended up doing is using the larger side like this. You guys know how to make wrap loops. And if you need a little help in making wrap loops, you're going to always rewatch or watch my basics video, which includes wrapped loops. It's somewhere on the website. I'm sure you will find it. It actually includes the word basics. So I just made this loop with my medium bail making pliers, the large side, and you can see how enormous this loop appears. So I'm not a fan of that. And so I want the length, but not necessarily the width. So this is what I did with every one of these loops. If you blink, you're going to miss it. So just give it a little squeeze. And do you see what just happened? I made it just a bit daintier. It's also a little bit oval. You guys can see that, right? So because I gave it a little smushy, it became oval rather than round, so it's not going to be quite so bulky. But because it's oval, it's still just as long as it was before, and it very easily clears the top of the teardrop. So that's exactly what we want. So now I am going to wrap around the long wire maybe 2 or 3 times and cut off the excess wire. Even though we're going to be wrapping over it, I still like to give it a little squeeze. And so then for the smaller loop, I'm going to switch to my small bail making pliers. But first, we are going to again make something close to a 90-degree angle, just like that. And now we're going to get started on our smaller loop. So for the smaller loops, I used the large side of the small bail making pliers, and I feel like it's just a really good size. So we're making this nice little figure 8. So this is what it looks like. Just looks like a figure 8. And I think it's just a little bit off center, so we'll center it just like that. All right, so once I am happy with my figure 8, I'm going to string it through that center link on the chain. And now we don't need the marker wire anymore. So I'm just going to get rid of it. And now we're going to make a fun little organically wrapped loop. So we're just going to wrap right over our first wrap. And because we are working with 24 gauge wire, 24 is not very heavy, we can actually go right back and make this even more interesting and more organic. So we're actually going to be wrapping right over the second wrap. So this is actually our third wrap, like this. And when I go for the third wrap, that's when I really try to make it organic. I don't necessarily go as tight as I can. I make it a slightly looser coil. And now we just got right back to the top loop. We're going to cut off the excess wire and Make sure you tuck that little end in so it's not a weapon. And ta-da, there is our first teardrop. Okay, so as you can see, we have a little pearl in between all of the teardrops. So that's what we're going to do next. We are going to grab maybe a couple of pearls and string them onto our ball pins.
Allie says beautiful wraps would be lovely earrings.
Allie, did you read my mind or did you see the preview? Because let me show you. Actually, this could be an earring just as is. You're absolutely right. But this is what we're doing next week, ladies. And on this one, I wanted to make it a little longer, but super lightweight and just kind of very light and airy for summer. So I wanted to just have some exposed wire. And I went for a slightly differently shaped pearl, but of course these are the same teardrops and they're going to go beautifully with the necklace. I hope you like the earring. And you know, if you wanted to do a slight redesign, you could wrap it exactly like I wrapped the one for the necklace.
Karen says plain gold locks with the loops.
I'm not quite picturing that, but maybe you can elaborate. So, okay, guys, so this is what I just did. I just put my pearls on the ball pins, and I am just going to do these a little bit assembly style. So we're going to make a 90-degree angle on one, make another 90-degree angle on the other. Of course, the entire point of doing this assembly style is so that you're not picking up a tool and putting down another tool every time. Okay, so now I'm going to start on the loops, and we're just going to be consistent and use the bail making pliers, the large side of the small bail making pliers for the loops. And so here's one, or maybe I use the small side. Now I'm not even sure, but you can use whichever side makes you happy.
Allie says, oh, how cool. I think that's written in regards to the earring.
Thank you so much, Allie. You know what? In fact, I did use the small side. I think it makes it a bit easier to create that organic loop. But that's okay. We'll just go with the flow. And if you want a really nice organic loop, make sure you use the smaller side of the bail making pliers. Okay, so now we are going to skip one loop and go into the next loop. So we're going into the loop that is in the same direction. So as you can see, you know, like one loop is like this, another loop is like that, and then the next one is like this. So we're going to be always going into the loop that is in the same direction as the loop that we put our initial component in. So I hope that makes sense. I think visually it makes more sense than when I explain it. And you know what? We'll just do the same exact thing with the next one on the other side. And of course, when I do this, I really take care to go into the same side of the loop. So that's very important. So there is a bottom and there's a top to each loop. It's whichever side you designate as the bottom or the top. So just be really consistent, and then the rest is so very, very easy.
Allie says makes sense, and Althea says, so you're using every other loop?
Yes, exactly. I'm using every other loop. I think I made it more complicated than it really was. Okay, guys, so I just wrapped down, and now I am wrapping up towards the loop. And that's it. That's all there is to it. And I will do the same with the other loop. Maybe just make it a little tiny bit smaller. And so this is what I mean by assembly style. It's when you make more than just one step with the same tool. And now I'm switching to the cutter and cutting off the excess wire. And now we're going to use the chain nose pliers to tuck in that little end. Okay, and one more. Okay, so this is what this looks like. So to continue making the necklace, you're just going to continue doing the same thing. And of course, since we laid out our turquoise copper edge drops in this fan pattern with, you know, with the larger pieces being towards the front and smaller pieces being towards the sides, we're just going to continue that same pattern. So, because, you know, it's always visually pleasing when the largest object is in the center. Okay, so continue until you have used up all of your turquoise drops and you end up with pearls on the ends. And through the magic of Facebook Live, look at this. I have already done it. Oh, but wait, we have to remove this first so that we can pretend that I just somehow magically did all of this. Okay, so obviously this is my sample that was previously assembled, but I kind of disassembled it a little bit just for the purposes of showing you how to assemble. Okay, so what we're going to do is cut our chain. This is our remaining chain. Remember, we started out with 40 inches of chain, and we used 9 inches for the center piece, right, for the bottom strand. Then we're using another 8 inches of chain for the top strand. And then what do we have left? 23 inches, right? 23 inches. So that makes for a pretty long necklace, ladies. And we still have, wait, do we have an extender on this? Yes, we do. So we still have an extender chain as well. So what we're going to have to do is just really ponder the length. So if we do a little math, and 23 inches plus 9 inches, that is, I believe, 32 inches. Wait, did I? Yes, it is 32 inches, right? So then we also have a couple of inches of the extender chain. And on top of that, we have a few findings that are going to maybe add another 1/2 inch to 1 inch. So kind of ponder just how long do you want this necklace to be? Or else you can do the easy thing, which is just take your remaining 23 inches and cut it in half. And you can always try it on and then make it a little shorter if you want to, that is. But if you don't cut away some of the chain, you're going to end up with a necklace that is about 34, 35 inches in length.
Althea says, just beautiful.
Thank you so much, Althea. I really appreciate it. Okay, guys, so now we have, and just kind of disregard this side, okay? Disregard it, pretend it's not there. So we're just going to say, at this point, our two strands of chain are not yet connected. So we are going to connect them. And we're going to start by making another loop. And I'm looking at my loop on this side, and I believe it's a small side of my bail making pliers. So we're just going to start our loop, and this too is going to be an organic loop. However, I'm not going to go crazy with the organic elements, but let me tell you, so in addition to making these loops organic, okay, so let's look at one maybe. So in addition to make these loops organic just because we like the look of it, it's actually a super good idea when we're working with finer wire. And this is 24 gauge again. So it's just a really good thing to make that organic loop because it gives it a little bit more strength. Okay, so we are now going to connect the two chain segments into what is going to become our little connector loop. And when you do that, make sure that none of the chain is kinked or twisted, and it just hangs and drapes really beautifully. And so now I have my two pieces of chain right here, and I am going to hold with my chain nose pliers and give it a little wrap or coil, maybe just two is good, and cut off the excess wire. And you know, I always feel, oh, you know what? We're going to, I forgot that we're doing this as an organic loop. So, okay, that was a practice run, ladies. Disregard, please. So that was a practice run. And now we're going to do this for realsies. So I cut the wire, the excess wire off a little bit prematurely before I went back with my coiling back to the loop. Okay, so this one is the real deal. And we are going to just gather our two ends of our chain, and we're going to give this a little double coil, and then we're just going to let it be. Because whenever we are making an organic loop with a bead in between, we want to put that bead on first. Because otherwise, when we go back with our coiling, our coil is just going to really slide around, and we're not really going to get a predictably shaped coil. So it's always best to make that first coil, put our bead on, make the second coil, but once we have our second loop, please don't forget to connect our chain, because that is the whole point of making a second loop. We want to, at that point, connect our chain. So we have two chain segments on one end, and then we have our long chain segment on the other end. So again, if you don't cut that remaining piece of chain into smaller segments, you're going to end up with two segments that are 11.5 inches, which is perfectly fine because you can always adjust the length right at the end. Okay, so now I have my coils on each side, and this is a really good time to go back with our wire from the bead in the direction of the loop, and we're going to do that on both sides.
Cherie says, hello, Irina and Tony.
Hi, Cherie. So nice to hear from you. Okay, ladies. And so I just went in the opposite direction from the bead to the loop. And I feel that we are ready now to cut off our excess wire. And of course, we're going to want to tuck it in. And we'll do that on both sides so that none of the little tails are poking out. Okay, this is exactly what we want. So now we are going to connect our extender chain to one end and our lobster claw clasp to the other end. And this is the time where you take your necklace and you go and look at yourself in the mirror and you smile and you make a couple of faces and you turn this way and that way and you decide, is this a good length for you? Okay, so if it's a good length, we proceed. If not, just chop a little bit off, not a problem. All right, and then we are going to use a jump ring. And sorry, remember how I had to deconstruct? This is the remnants of my deconstructing. Okay, so now we are going to connect our jump ring to the last link of the chain, and oops, we're going to put an extender chain into the jump ring, and then using our chain nose and our flat nose pliers, we're going to close the jump ring, always overlapping it slightly first so that you can just hear that beautiful click. And the click tells you that there's no room whatsoever between the two sides of the jump ring. You cannot see an opening anywhere in the jump ring. And we are now going to use one more ball pin, and we are going to put that final bauble at the end of our little chain. So that's a pretty little pearl, and we're just going to start another loop. And I don't think it even matters what side of the bail making pliers you use at this point, or maybe you're using round nose pliers. It really doesn't matter. All we want is just some type of a loop that can connect to the last link of our extender chain. And I always like the idea of an extender chain, even when, sometimes, not always, but sometimes even when we're making a longer necklace, sometimes it just makes a difference when you can adjust it by up to 2 inches. I think that's a good option. Okay, and we just finished this side of the necklace. And then of course the other side of the necklace, the same thing. Instead of putting our extender chain on this side, we are just using the jump ring to attach our lobster claw clasp, and that's it. That's all there is, ladies. So what do you think? Was that easy? So I think it's a really fun project. It's a project where you just kind of master those organic loops that will turn your drops, and it's so applicable to other projects as well. And as promised, I think I'm going to take my necklace off and just demo for you how this hangs. And so let's do this right now, and then I'll show you the project for next week. Okay, so of course, you know, they all need to hang exactly how they're intended. So, you know, sometimes I'll just shake it and it just shakes out and it hangs beautifully. And sometimes I need to just help it along just a little bit. So, what do you guys think? So, you know what I'm going to do? I will put it on just as is, with the length being at the first link of the extender chain. So this is on the shorter side, and I could make it longer yet, but then again, I'm also on the shorter side, so maybe I don't want to make it longer. So, ta-da! What do you guys think? Is this a good length? And it could be shorter. So here, let's look at it this way, and then I'm going to show you a couple of options. You could make it a lot shorter if you wanted to.
Allie says it is long. Would love to see it with your layered necklaces.
Oh, thank you. Okay, you know what? This is what I'm going to do. I am going to put the necklace that I had on, I'm going to put it back on, and then I'm going to show you what it would look like if it were shorter. Okay, so let's untangle. And okay, what do you guys think? So is this short enough, or do we want it a little, I can't see myself, you guys, you're my mirror. So Allie, what do you think? So I think Tony likes it this way. It could be even shorter yet. So should we make it even shorter? So this is what it looks like. How does this look? Does this look good? Is this too short? I can't see it at all. Yeah, good? Okay, Tony's giving me thumbs up, yay. Okay, so you decide, but you have enough chain to make it as long as you want. And of course, now it's kind of fighting with my tassel here. Okay, ta-da. So I'm going to take it off and get it a little tangled in my hair, just for fun. And here it is. And now I'm going to again show you the earrings that we are making next week. And again, you guys, I apologize. As of right now, we're sold out of the gold version, but the silver version is still available. I should probably tell you that we're not able to make all that many of either version, so this is very much a limited edition kit. Sometimes we're able to make more, but this turquoise, you know, it's pretty rare, it's hard to get, and unfortunately, you know, I have a feeling we're going to run out quickly.
Katie says, pretty, I think I'll make it adjustable a la Irina's mix and match.
Yay, that is my plan, Katie. So this one eventually will end up on my neck, and I plan to make it adjustable.
And Cherie says beautiful in both tones.
Thank you so much, Cherie.
And just to be clear, we don't know when we can restock the gold.
Oh, we have no idea if we can ever do it, honestly. So as of right now, all we have is the silver option. And of course, the silver option is my favorite because I'm really more of a silver girl. But, you know, if you love gold, I suppose you can do what Katie's doing. And if you have some gold chain, you can always swap out. But in the meantime, we have the silver variation. And this is our project for next week. So it seems like it may be very similar, and it is very similar. However, it is not identical. So, you know, it's a slightly different technique in terms of the wrap. And it's a slightly different pearl as well, because I guess I don't like anything matching exactly. So even though it is very similar, it's not an exact match, different pearl. And right now, let's do a little bit of a preview of what is coming up. So tomorrow, for our Facebook Live event, I'm going to show some luscious sapphires and rubies and tanzanite and some fabulous fossils. You guys have been loving the fossils lately, so I'm going to show you some of the same or similar and some new ones. So that should be exciting. I have some filigree components, but wait, there's more. You asked me to show some samples, so I do have some samples from some of the kits that are retired or just store samples, and I'm going to have those tomorrow. And then, of course, next Thursday, which is going to be June 27th, we are going to have the Turquoise Mountain earrings. And yes, I will make them in 2 different colors to go with the gold and to go with the silver, even though the gold is no longer available. But some of you did get in on the gold early as soon as it came out, so that was great. Because unfortunately, again, not able to get the gold chain right now. And so this is the Turquoise Mountain earrings on Thursday, June 27th, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time on my jewelry design page. And we're trying to do something a little bit differently. We're really trying hard to give you a preview, or at least even a partial preview, of next Friday as well, even though this Friday has not happened yet. But I know it's crazy. So now if you look at the event page, we actually show you some of what is coming up. So I know it's that much more exciting when you can see just even a little bit of what's coming up. So next week, we're going to have pearls and lampwork glass and vintage reproduction beads, and of course there is more. And let me just tell you, please don't forget, if there's anything you really want to see, I am your bead concierge. I would love to be your bead fairy, the bead fairy who makes all your bead dreams come true. So you let me know what you would like to see in those Friday videos, and I will most definitely try to make it happen.
Cherie says, love this. And Trudy says it's a good length. Allie says, nice.
Thank you so much, ladies.
Cherie likes it shorter. Fonda says it's a good length. And Karen says, great design, so pretty.
Thank you so much.
Althea says everything is perfect.
Oh, thank you so much, Althea. Well, so there you have it. Some people like it shorter, some people like it just as is, And whichever way you like it, you can make it happen. So you make it your way, and obviously make it the way that you want to wear it. So you know that's the perks, right, of being able to do this yourself. So I love being able to make my own jewelry. Okay, ladies, and I believe that is all for today. So thank you so much for watching. Thank you for all of your wonderful comments. And I'm still hoping for some suggestions, especially for the Friday videos. I'm really trying to vary things. So give me some ideas. Just throw some things out, something that you've always wanted to see or make or whatever. We'll try to make it happen. So again, thank you so much and have a wonderful and creative evening. I will see you in the morning.